Hello friends, and welcome back to another episode. So in this episode I want to show you the Canonet QL17 GIII. And so let's talk about what some of this stuff means here. Okay, Canon obviously is the manufacturer. QL stands for quick load, and I'll show you what that is, what that means in a minute. G3 is Gen 3, is the third generation. And let me get the lens in focus here. And then the 1.7 stands for the 1.7 lens, maximum aperture. So this is a fixed lens. This is not an interchangeable lens camera. Excuse me, but this is just a wonderful camera. So I'll show you around the camera now. So here we have the viewfinder window. Here's the rangefinder window. This is the focus. We focus the camera. Let me show you this here. This is, let me get this in focus. So this is your aperture setting, and these are your shutter speeds. Okay, so this is a fully manual camera. So even if your battery dies, you can still use the camera. And this is what I did. Excuse me, that's what I did yesterday. As a matter of fact, my battery was dead. I was kind of bummed out. I spent $10 for a battery, used it one time, and it died on me. So the way you're supposed to preserve the battery is if it's in A, theoretically, it's drawing power, and if you move it out of A to one of the manual apertures, it's supposed to turn, basically deactivate the battery, but it didn't do it. So I had it in storage for months, and the battery completely exhausted. Though, even though I did what the recommendation, it still drained the battery. Okay, so again, it's a fully manual camera. Even if the battery dies, you select your shutter and your aperture, and you're good to go. You don't have to worry about a battery. Okay, let me continue on to where I was. Okay, let me show you the maximum aperture here. So you can, listen, get in focus. So this is a 1.7. You can see I'm pulling the aperture down. So I keep drawing down further and further. You can see the aperture blades now, they're at 16. That's f16. That's as small as it'll go. So I was at 1.7 and I went down to 16 on the aperture blades. Okay, excuse me. On the bottom is your film rewind. You press that in to rewind your film. 1/4-20 tripod socket. Battery, which is the old PX625. There are modern day replacements for that. I think it's W-E-I-N. It's spelled. It's Wine or Wayne, and I had that. It's the 625 replacement, Zinc Air. It's about $10, and there's no hacks. Again, it's just you open this and it goes right in there, no problem. On the top of the camera, you have the film rewind, hot shoe, film advance, film counter window, frame counter, shutter release. Let me get in focus here. This is your viewfinder, battery check, and let me show you the quick load system. So the quick load system, the way it works, it's kind of neat. You know, for a while there, they were trying to make these as consumer friendly as possible. So the way this works is, okay, if you notice here, please, this piece. So when I open it, you can see here, it's like a little door. So you just you spool the film out just a little bit to where it evens out with this red index. Okay, then all you do is you make sure that the sprocket holds even with this sprocket, right? You want sprocket to sprocket. And you notice there is no shutter curtain too. This is a leaf shutter. That's a leaf shutter in the lens. So you have your film in there, and all you do is close the door, put this down, and you start advancing, right? You start advancing your film, and this shows you, this is an aid, this little candy stripe nurse thing here. As you advance the film, you'll see this go by, this red and white, to let you know that the film is advancing. Okay, they put that in there as an aid to people so that they know the film is advancing. That's about it for the camera itself. Again, it's a wonderful camera. So what happened is I was outdoors, my battery died, long story short, and I just used the Sunny 16 rule. But I did is I overexposed the film. I wanted to make the film one-stop hot, just to play it safe. So what I did is I placed my shutter at 1/125, 1/125th of a second, and my aperture at f11. Okay, so I overexposed the film by one stop, right, and then I corrected for it in post. And when I scanned the images into my Epson V600, all I did was I just brought the exposure down a little bit. So it's always safe to err on the side of overexposure versus underexposure. Okay, so I'll show you the images now. The images were post-processed a little bit. Again, no major surgery. I'm a minimalist, and I always try to stay very true to my images. I did bump the contrast a little bit, which tweaked the colors a little bit. So the colors are tweaked. I didn't do the colors deliberately. They just went along for the ride when I did a little bit of the contrast, when I bumped the contrast. Okay, so I'll roll the images in now. And just to finish up, I love this camera. This camera is just absolutely wonderful. I'm just tickled to death with this camera, and I paid $125 for this camera a year ago, a little over a year ago, and it's well worth more than $125 to me. This is a very clean copy. I think it came from Japan. I got it from Japan, and it's just, again, I can't recommend this camera enough. A wonderful camera for the money. Okay. So I'll show you here. I'll show you how to use a rangefinder. So for those of you who are new to rangefinder, so when you look through this, called the ghost patch. It's a little square. It's a little. When you look through your viewfinder, you'll see a little square, and the square is the rangefinder. It's called the ghost patch. So what happens is, this is a ghost image, right? So the way you do it in a rangefinder to get your focus is you turn the focus knob until you start to see two images align. Okay, then what I do is I get them lined up, and I go just a little bit more just to confirm, right? And then I bring it back again, right? And then once I have the two images lined up, excuse me, here, let me make sure they're lined up. Yeah, so when you see they're lined up, then that's when you know you have focus. That's how you know you acquire focus. So again, you get this ghost image. It might look like this. Then you just turn the focus until your images line up, and that's how you know you got focus.